Hello students, we now come to the last strand's discussion of private international law. This strand concerns the recognition and enforcement of foreign judgments. A plaintiff brings an action against a defendant in the Court of New York, claiming breach of contract. He obtains a judgment for damages, but only to discover that the judgment cannot be satisfied in New York because the defendant has removed all his assets to England. Can the plaintiff enforce the New York judgment in England? The basic rule is that due to the doctrine of territorial sovereignty, a judgment delivered in one country cannot be directly recognized or enforced in another unless there exists an international agreement between the two countries in question. Nevertheless, many countries recognize and enforce the foreign judgments in England, provided that the judgment meets certain requirements. Recognition and enforcement at common law. Recognition and enforcement of foreign judgments has for long been based on the ground of comity. The Civil Jurisdiction and Judgments Act 1982 provides that no proceedings may be brought by a person in England and Wales on a cause of action in respect of which a judgment has been given in proceedings between the same parties or their privies in UK or elsewhere, unless that judgment is unenforceable in England and Wales. In Republic of India versus India Steamship Company Limited, the plaintiff brought an action in India claiming short delivery of a cargo of ammunition which was shipped from Sweden to India. The plaintiff was successful at the first instance in India, but an appeal was still pending at the time of English proceedings. During the India proceedings at first instance, the plaintiff commenced an action in rem in the English courts. The defendants argued that the later claim was excluded because a judgment had been given by an overseas court. The House of Lords held that proceedings in the English court that began earlier would still be discontinued if there was a foreign court judgment on that cause of action. Requirements for recognition and enforcement. At common law, a successful litigant seeking to enforce a foreign judgment in England has to institute proceedings to sue on the obligation created by the judgment. Alternatively, he or she may plead the judgment res judicata in any proceedings which raise the same issue. Jurisdictions of the foreign court. In actions in personam, there are 5 cases in which the English courts would enforce a foreign judgment. Firstly, defendant is a subject of the foreign country in which the judgment has been obtained. Secondly, he was resident in the foreign country when the action began. Thirdly, defendant in the contract with the plaintiff has selected the forum in which he is afterwards sued. Fourthly, he has voluntarily appeared. And fifthly, he has contracted to submit himself to the forum in which the judgment was obtained. Residence. It is a well settled principle that the residence of the defendant in the foreign country when the action began is a sufficient ground for jurisdiction. In Adams versus Cape Industries PLC, the court took the view that the voluntary presence of an individual in a foreign country, whether permanent or temporary, and whether or not accompanied by residence, is sufficient to give the courts of that country territorial jurisdiction over him under our rules of private international law. In relation to a corporate defendant, there must be a fixed place of business within the jurisdiction of the foreign country and from which the corporation operates. A. The corporation has established and maintained at its own expense, whether as owner or lessee, a fixed place of business of its own in the other country, and for more than a minimal period of time has carried on its own business at or from such premises by its servants or agents, a branch of his case. Or B. A representative of the overseas corporation has for more than a minimal period of time been carrying on the overseas corporation's business in the other country at or from some fixed place of business. Submission. Submission to a foreign court's jurisdiction may be effected when a person voluntarily invokes the jurisdiction of the foreign court, either as a plaintiff or makes a counterclaim or cross action as a defendant. In Chief Harry Akande versus Balfour Beatty Construction Limited, the plaintiff had obtained a judgment in Nigeria and registered in England. The defendant applied to set aside the registration because it did not submit to the Nigerian jurisdiction. The defendant was served outside the jurisdiction and he entered a conditional appearance to the claim and sought to challenge the jurisdiction of the Nigerian courts. The English court held that the judgment debtor not to have submitted to the Nigerian court's jurisdiction. Further, the law applicable in the foreign court on the significance of a conditional appearance was irrelevant, since the test to be applied in English courts in relation to submission was to be found in section 33 CJJA. Jurisdiction is also ensured by expressly agreeing with utmost clarity upon the jurisdiction of the specific court. Further, the plaintiff pleading enforcement of a foreign judgment has to prove that an action for debt recovery always has to specify a fixed sum, else the court will refuse to enforce it. The foreign judgment was final and conclusive. The foreign judgment was on merits. Such foreign judgment must not be for foreign revenue, penal or other public laws, like ordering the payment of taxes or penalties. The foreign judgment was from the court of competent jurisdiction. The overriding clause remains that the English courts would not enforce the foreign judgments with orders multiple damages. Defenses in the plea for enforcement of foreign judgment. Fraud. The foreign judgment may be refused recognition or enforcement upon proof that it was obtained by fraud. Such fraud may take various forms. Foreign court itself has acted in a fraudulent manner, as in Price versus Dewhurst. Or successful party presented forged evidence or withheld foreign court vital evidence, or he or she bribed the foreign court. In fraud allegations by the defendant on revisiting the merits of the foreign judgment, the enforcement of such judgment, unlike the enforcement of an English one, did not require fresh evidence for the case to be reopened, as held in Owens versus Bracco. Contrary to natural justice, at common law, a foreign judgment may be refused recognition or enforcement if the proceedings were opposed to natural justice. It could concern alleged irregularities in the procedure of the foreign court, but does not extend to the merits of the case. Contrary to public policy, a foreign judgment would be denied recognition and enforcement if it is contrary to the forum's principles of public policy. In Ray McCartney, a maintenance order was made in the Maltese court against a man domiciled in England. The order was to provide maintenance for his illegitimate daughter, who was born in Malta. The English court refused to enforce this order on the grounds inter alia of public policy, in the sense that English law did not at that time allow for such a maintenance order in favor of an illegitimate child to be enforced against its father or his estate. In Israel Discount Bank of New York versus Hajidi Pateras, the court explained that the concept of public policy was wide enough to embrace undue influence, duress and coercion. Res judicata of a forum court's judgment. Forum courts will not recognize a foreign judgment if it is inconsistent with a previous judgment pronounced by a competent forum court. For instance, a Belgium nullity decree was refused recognition in Verweyck versus Smith on the ground inter alia that it was inconsistent with an earlier English judgment which had determined such a matter. Hence, the earlier English judgment was res judicata. Indian law. The most significant statement with regard to the status of foreign judgments has been enshrined in section 13 of the Civil Procedure Code 1908. In Sardar Maloji Narsingh Rao versus Sankar Saran, the Supreme Court held that the rules laid down in section 13 are rules of substantive law and not merely of procedure. 1. A foreign judgment must be conclusive. It must be pronounced by a court of competent jurisdiction. 2. Such a judgment must be by a court competent both by the law of the state which has constituted it and in an international sense. It must have directly adjudicated upon the matter which is pleaded as res judicata. The parties must have submitted to its jurisdiction or were present or represented at the proceedings in the foreign court. 3. A foreign judgment must have been given on the merits of the case. Refusal to recognize on reasons of violation of natural justice principles. It is mandatory that a foreign judgment has to be obtained after due judicial process. That is, the court observed the minimum requirements of natural justice. An impartial tribunal acting fairly and in good faith and afforded reasonable opportunities to the parties for presenting their case. The concept of audi alteram partem is universal. In ING Investment Trust versus Raja of Kalikot, the court held that although the summons were issued but were never served and the decree was passed ex parte, the proceedings were opposed to principles of natural justice and thus inconclusive. In Hari Singh versus Mohammad Said, the court found that the foreign court failed to appoint a willing guardian to the minor defendant. Further, the court did not approve of ex parte proceedings against the minor defendant who was unaware of the pending suit even after he became a major, which was before the judgment was passed. Therefore, the court held that the judgment against the minor vitiated natural justice within the meaning of section 13 clause D of the Civil Procedure Code. Therefore, the judgment was held to be inconclusive qua these defendants. In R. Vishwanathan versus Rukn Mulk Saeed Abdul Wajid, the Supreme Court interpreted section 13 clause D. The plaintiff contended that the judgment of A and B courts was not conclusive between the parties as it was not a court of competent jurisdiction, movable and immovable property outside the territory of A and B courts, and that in any event it was coram non judice as the judges were either interested or biased. The proceedings vitiated on the grounds of natural justice. Upon consideration of the facts, the Supreme Court observed as follows: a foreign judgment of a competent court is conclusive even if it proceeds on an erroneous view of the evidence or the law, if the minimum requirements of judicial process are assured. Correctness of the judgment in law or on evidence is not predicated as a condition for recognition of its conclusiveness by the municipal court. A judgment which is the result of bias or want of impartiality on the part of a judge will be regarded as a nullity and the trial coram non judice. Refusal to recognize for reasons of fraud. The Supreme Court advised caution against the presence of fraud in foreign judgments. In Chengalvarai Naidu versus Jagannath, the Supreme Court stated that a judgment or decree obtained by playing a fraud on the court is a nullity and non-est. It can be challenged in any court, even in collateral proceedings. It would not operate as res judicata. In Satya versus Teja Singh, husband obtained a decree of divorce against his wife from the Nevada courts in the USA, averring that he was domiciled in America. The Nevada court derived jurisdiction to entertain and hear the divorce petition on the basis of averment that the applicant was a bona fide resident of and domiciled in Nevada. Since the statement was not true and the applicant never lived in Nevada, the Supreme Court of India ruled that Nevada court had no jurisdiction to pass a decree of divorce and it was a nullity. In the incisive words of the court, it is therefore wrong to think that judgments in rem are inviolable. Fraud in any case bearing on jurisdictional facts vitiates all juridical acts, whether in rem or in personam. Refusal to recognize for reasons of breach of any Indian law. Another important point is that where a foreign judgment is founded on a breach of any law in force in India, it cannot be enforced in India. Similarly, a decree for divorce ordered by a foreign court cannot be approved or recognized by an Indian court if under the Indian law the marriage is indissoluble. Refusal to recognize for reasons of merits of the case. A judgment is founded on merits when, after recording evidence and application of mind on the truth or falsity of a plaintiff's case, the judge gives a decision. For instance, in Y. Narasimha Rao and others versus Y. Venkatalakshmi and another, the Supreme Court observed that if a foreign judgment has not been given on the merits of the case, the courts in India will not recognize such a judgment. A brief recital of the facts is highly pertinent. The first appellant and the first respondent were married in Tirupati, India as per Hindu customs in 1975. They separated in July 1978 and the first appellant filed a petition for dissolution of marriage in the subcourt of Tirupati. He filed a petition for dissolution of marriage in the Circuit Court of St. Louis County, Missouri, USA, and the Circuit Court passed a decree for dissolution of marriage on February 19, 1980. In the absence of the first respondent. He then filed an application for dismissing the petition in view of the decree passed by the Missouri court. In 1981, the first appellant married the second appellant. First respondent filed a criminal complaint against the first and second appellant for the offence of bigamy. The Supreme Court refused to accept the Missouri court's divorce decree because it was not the competent court. While in USA, during the subsistence of their marriage, the appellant and the respondents resided together at New Orleans and not in Missouri. Interpreting section 13 clause D, the court held that a competent court is the court declared so according to the matrimonial law applicable to the dispute. Any other court cannot exercise jurisdiction unless both parties voluntarily and unconditionally subject themselves to the jurisdiction of that court. Section 13 clause B states that if a foreign judgment has not been given on the merits of the case, the Indian courts would not recognize such judgment. A. The decision of the foreign court should be on a ground available under the matrimonial law of the parties. And B. The decision should be a result of the contest between the parties. A mere filing of the reply to the claim under protest and without submitting to the jurisdiction of the court should not be considered as a submission to the jurisdiction. Section 13 clause C states that where the judgment is founded on a refusal to recognize the law of this country, in cases that such law is applicable, the judgment will not be recognized by the courts in this country. The marriages which take place in this country can only be under either the customary or the statutory law in force in this country. Hence, the only law that can be applicable to the matrimonial disputes is the one under which the parties are married and no other law. If a foreign judgment is founded on a jurisdiction or on a ground not recognized by such law, it is a judgment which is in defiance of the law. Hence, it is not conclusive of the matters adjudicated therein and therefore unenforceable in this country. if the foreign court has not ascertained and ensured such effective contest by requiring the petitioner to make all necessary provisions for the respondent to defend, including the costs of travel, residence and litigation where necessary, it should be held that the proceedings are in breach of the principles of natural justice. It is for this reason that the rules of private international law of some countries insist, even in commercial matters, that the action should be filed in the forum where the defendant is either domiciled or is habitually resident. In International Woolen Mills versus Standard Wool UK Limited, the Supreme Court has rendered a well-reasoned decision and has also given a comprehensive, exhaustive analysis with reference to Section 13 Clause B, dealing with the merits of the case. A judgment based upon an incorrect view of international law or a refusal to recognize the law of India where such law is applicable is not conclusive. In other words, a foreign judgment may be impeached on the ground that it is founded upon an inaccurate view of the law of India or of international law. Where the judgment is passed disregarding the Indian law and international law. Where the judgment is passed disregarding the Indian law and international law. In Anup Beniwal versus Jagbir Singh Beniwal, there was a matrimonial dispute leading to a suit for divorce in England on the basis of Section 1, Clause 1, Subclause 2b of the Matrimonial Causes Act 1973. The particular ground under which the suit was filed was that the respondent has behaved in such a way that the petitioner cannot reasonably be expected to live with the respondent. The decree was obtained in England and presented in India for enforcement. The respondent claimed that since the decree was based on the English Act, there was refusal by the English court to recognize the Indian law. The court held that under the Indian Hindu Marriage Act, under Section 13 Clause 1, a similar ground, cruelty, on which the divorce may be granted. Thus, the decree was enforceable in India. Rule of reciprocity. Under Section 44A of the Civil Procedure Code, a decree of any of the superior courts of any reciprocating territory are executable as a decree passed by the domestic court. Therefore, in case the decree does not pertain to a reciprocating territory or a superior court of a reciprocating territory as notified by the central government in the official gazette, the decree is not directly executable in India. In case the decree pertains to a country not a reciprocating territory, then a fresh suit will have to be filed in India on the basis of such a decree or judgment, which may be construed as a cause of action for the said suit. The foreign court's order could, however, be of evidentiary value against the defendant. Further, the rule of enforcement of foreign judgments applies only to final judgments and not an interim relief order of the foreign court. Mode of enforcement of foreign judgments. A foreign judgment which is conclusive under Section 13 of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908 can be enforced in India by 1. instituting a suit on such judgment, or 2. By instituting execution proceedings. A suit on a foreign judgment must be filed within a period of 3 years from the date of the judgment. To conclude, we have now understood the requirements for enforcement of foreign judgments in England and in India. Foreign judgments to be enforced have to fulfill certain basic criteria. They have to be given out by a competent court having jurisdiction to decide the matter, and they should be based upon the application of law, that is, the appropriate law chosen by the parties, and such judgment should have complied with the principles of natural justice. Courts of the forum could refuse enforcement if it could be established that such foreign judgment was obtained by fraud or is in complete violation or breach of any Indian law, or it is apparent that the judgment was not based on merits.